Hi everyone, Happy New Year from Base Leg Aviation. Just want to say thanks to all of you who watch us over the years and those of you who read the columns that I write for Kit Planes and Sport Aviation. And for those of you who managed to purchase my books as well, hopefully they're working out for you. So it's been a little rough month of December here. Ended up with COVID again, so it kept me down for a while. But while I was down, the head's always kind of spinning, trying to figure out what's going on. And it kind of dawned on me, hey, what should I be sharing with you in the coming year? So many of you know I use my aircraft, especially the RV-10, quite regularly. It's a tool for me, and one, going back and forth to the business, as a DAR and doing pre-buys. So reliability is really, really important to me, as is safety, as many of you know from the spirit of the columns that I write. So in the spirit of maintenance, one of the things that weighed on my mind as I'm laying there with COVID here during the last month is about what I would call preemptive maintenance. One of the things I don't like is to get stuck somewhere, and I pride myself on all the years I've been building my own airplanes. I've had 100% dispatch, but it takes some work to do that, especially now this RV-10 here. We've got about 2,500 hours on this airframe. And we're on the second engine, the Thunderbolt engine's a little over 1,000 hours. So I started thinking about trips I've got planned in the coming year. And the pre-buy business in the DAR seems to be off to a pretty aggressive start here already. And so it needs to be reliable. And so what are those things I need to pay attention to as we're getting into higher airframe kinds of time? So some of the things I think about are the electrical side and the engine side. So if I look at this one now, over the years, one of the things you've heard me talk about are replacing hoses. Every 8 years or so. I know there's some noise out there says, if you look at the Piper forms, maybe 5 years. I think that's a little much because these hoses are good. They have an 8-year shelf life. But this
So let me ask you this. That one looks to be Teflon, but it must not be, correct?
No, this is not Teflon. This is just stainless steel hose. It's an Aeroquip, so it's got a rubber interior. So the Teflon, you can tell from it'll have a different lining, and we're going to show you some of that stuff as we go through this year and replacing stuff on this aircraft. So this being the second time that I've replaced hoses now on this aircraft, I decided maybe I ought to just go ahead and do them all in Teflon. Teflon is life limited, unlimited life, unlike these with the 8-year. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do Teflon. I looked at the price difference. It's not much more than maybe a couple $100 to do them all in Teflon. And then I'm done. They'll be done forever. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to do all the oil hoses, the fuel line hoses, and any of the sensor hoses as well. So I've started working on those, and I will show you how to do some of those hoses. I think in the past I've made some videos showing you how to do the Teflon hoses. But just to refresh you, I'll do a couple of those again, probably this week. One of the other things, so we talk about hoses, we talk about the electrical side of the aircraft. There's two, what I would call single points of failure that allow you to get stuck somewhere, would be the master solenoid. I have had one of those go out, probably about 1,000 hours ago. So I'm going to go ahead and preemptively replace that one as well. And then there's a starter solenoid right here. This is the original one. So with 2,300 hours, it might have about 5,000 cycles on it. The specs say they're good for a whole lot more than that, but just to be safe, I've replaced it this morning when I started here. And out of curiosity, one of the things I did was I'm going to dissect the one I took off. One, probably many of you might be interested in how these things work. So I just drilled off the cover here. There's just 4 rivets there. And you can see how a starter solenoid and a master solenoid would work just about the same. When it's energized, this big copper washer crosses the 2 terminals here. One side's on the battery, the other side goes to the starter and pulls it down. I was kind of curious. We'll probably have to get you a close-up here. I don't know if the flashlight will work, but at 5,000 or so cycles, there's only a little bit of minor pitting on one of the terminals. So I was pleasantly surprised. That's done a good job. So I will go ahead and replace the master solenoid, as I mentioned. And then one of the other things I'm going to do is, just for commonality's sake, and again, some reliability, the advanced 5400 screens in here they're pretty much for the life of this aircraft. They're working fine, no problems with them, just like the rest of the stuff I get from Advanced over the years. But I do have 6600 in the helicopter, and it's kind of nice to have some commonality between the aircraft. So I'm going to use that as an excuse to upgrade the electrical panel. Now, part of that driving as I start thinking about reliability is over the years of owning this aircraft, I've had in and out so many different kinds of electrical items. We can go right down the list. And so the wiring behind the panel is not exactly up to the speed that I do for our customers' airplanes. So this is going to give me a chance to actually gut some of that wiring and make certain I've got the new panel wired for reliability as well. So I'll take the time to do that. The other thing we noticed with 2,500 hours is the interior starts to wear, and you kind of don't notice that till you start to tear it apart. So I convinced Carol, hey, I think we ought to do the interior because there was a lot of work on her part to do that. You can kind of take a look over here. We've actually moved along pretty far with the interior, and Carol made nice new seats. The covers came out wonderfully. It's all leather.
It's ultra leather with sheepskin on the front, and the back seats are the ultra leather.
I stand corrected. So, and got most of the side panels done. Still have to do the upper headliner there. We're going to get that done hopefully this week. And what was driving that? Well, we noticed things were worn, and it's interesting. In the process of doing that, we actually replaced the foam in the seats and noticed a substantial difference in comfort on those as well.
So those we got from Oregon Aero, and that was merely a phone call and saying, hey, do you sell those seat inserts that come on the RV-10s? And they do. So we replaced all 4 pieces, and it made a difference.
Yeah, it did. It's the comfort is really there. So it's kind of these things that insidiously sneak up on you over the years, whether it's mechanical, electrical stuff wearing out, or even the creature comfort. So we're going to walk you through some of that stuff as we go through probably the month of January and February. Hope to start the panel upgrade maybe the middle end of January. Of course, we've got Home Builders Week coming up there the last month of January as well. So we'll be talking to some of you hopefully during that week. Anyway, bottom line, Happy New Year. Hopefully you're off to a good start. And you want to say something there?
I do. So just for reference purposes, we licensed this airplane in December of 2009. So it is 14 years old. And that's why a lot of stuff is needing replacement.
Yeah, a matter of fact, come to think of it, it was Christmas Day. We finished it. Put a bow on it. So anyway, again, Happy New Year. Thanks for watching, and we'll be talking to you soon.